your members on the platform and your team so they can see and hear the true value of such an exclusive invitation-only Wealth Club membership where lifestyle and legacy connect. All guests, please get back to the person who invited you to this platform. Now let's see what city and states we have that joined us from across this great country. While you're still coming on to get your active members on the platform and your team so they can see and hear the true value of such an exclusive invitation-only Wealth Club membership, grab yourself a pen and a pad to take copious notes from the gentleman I'm about to bring on. He brings more than a decade of success in the financial services industry, a licensed financial consultant and an expert in the area of investments. He's a lead consultant of our NWR cash flow division, no other than Mr. Cord Burner. Mr. Burner, welcome to the live.
Thank you much, Mr. Darrell. It is so good to see your face, man. 2023, I guess 2023 is in the past and we're now into 2024. So happy belated New Year, my friends and family, everybody that is tuning in. We've got states from all over the world. I can see Atlanta. I saw Texas. I've seen Queens, New York City, right? So we've got a lot of really, great faces, great people that are connecting today. And I've got a couple of topics we're going to discuss today that I'm going to talk from 1,000-foot view, right? We've got a lot to go through, but I also want to talk about what happened in 2023. Were you guys with me that 2023 was kind of like the modern Wild Wild West? Like a lot happened in 2023. I mean, it was a weird, interesting 2023. And now that we're in 2024, I want to share my mantra with you. It's the year of more. So 2024 is the year of more. Steal that, share that with your friends, because I wholeheartedly believe that our words are prophecy, right? So 2024, the year of more. But let's talk about what happened over 2023. And as I look at my notes here, right, because there's quite a few stuff that happened in 2023. I want you guys to know that my goal is not to talk about the doom and gloom of what happened, but things that are happening in the world are also relevant. We can't just ignore them either, right? It would be foolish to ignore them. So we want to pay attention to the things that are happening and then figure out how to be proactive against them. So do I have your guys' permission to keep it real today? Is that okay? Let's keep it real. Let's talk about what happened in 2023, because what's happened is kind of a precursor of what can happen in the years coming forward. We're seeing, indicators of what we've seen in the past from 2007 and 8 show up in 2023 and 2024. So we need to talk about it. So what happened in 2023? We had 5 banks, guys, 5 banks that failed in 2023. What were those names? We had Citizens Bank, was the first one. We had Heartland and the Tri-State Bank, of course. That's 2 and 3. First Republic Bank and Silicon Valley Bank. So what happened there? Right? When you think about banks that are worth billions of dollars, which is still a big number, that's with a B, billions of dollars, how does a large institution like a bank that's here one day gone to the next, right? So how do they fail as a bank? Well, it's very simple. It's assets versus liabilities. They had an asset that turned into a liability. They purchased debt that was producing some type of return under lower rates. So they might have bought it at 2%. And then it was a variable loan or a variable purchase. And as rates started to climb, well, their profit margins began to dwindle. So you had rates that went from 2 to 7, and they turned into toxic liabilities. When you have a toxic liability, well, it overtakes the company, the corporation. That's why we saw 5 banks fail in 2023. We also saw the government. They were downgraded as a creditor. Were you guys aware of that? I've talked about it a couple of times, but the government was downgraded by Moody's, which is basically the standard for creditors, right? They talk about the stability of an entity. In this case, it's our government. They went from being stable to officially negative. So that means our liabilities as a country has effectively overtaken our assets. So those are 2 things that happened. The third thing is, well, it happened a little bit prior in 2020, but we're now seeing it show its face, or the consequences of printing money in 2020. Have you guys felt inflation? I know I have, right? Inflation has been absolutely incredible. It's, when you think about the craze over eggs, right? There was a point to where eggs skyrocketed and they were just, way too expensive. You had lumber and retail goods that had a certain price that skyrocketed. And what happened? So in 2020, when we were printing money, right? So we have a pandemic, the country's shutting down. We need to infuse the country with cash. I think we might have been a little bit overzealous. Do you guys think we were trying to print cash like it was going out of style? Well, here's the numbers. 80% of all of the US dollars that are currently in circulation were printed in 2020. So that's why, well, potentially, why we're seeing inflation be a problem today, right? It's kind of one of those problems that it's like, well, we'll deal with that down the road. Let's print it today, and then in a couple of years, we'll deal with it. Now we're a couple of years down the road, and inflation is going rampant. And I love what Willie and Sonia said. We absolutely have the cure is what we're going to talk about today, right? So that's what's so. We've talked about what's so today. Now, what is the cure? What do you use? What are we implementing? Well, the program itself, right? This membership that is MWR Financial. Our goal is to eliminate debts. It's to create cash flow. It's to get in profit mode and to live abundantly, right? That's the way that I look at it, because we're taking everyday bills and we're reducing them, right, through the bill shredder. We've also got the programs to where we're making sure that you're not overpaying on taxes to somebody that can't even balance a checkbook. It drives me insane. They're one of the largest superpowers in the world, the government, and they can't balance a checkbook, or they refuse to, right? So when they get to that budget, it's not like they decrease spending and say, well, we got to the budget limit. Let's just cool the spending for the rest of the year. It's like, no, they vote in to increase the spending limit for the year, which creates an issue, which we're now going to deal with later on, is debt, right? We've got a lot of economic debt. What do we do about it, right? It's all about our personal responsibility. We've also got the program that's designed to multiply and enhance and grow our money. That's what I'm responsible in sharing with today is how do we multiply money? Because there's different, sides of the program. You build up into the other sides of the program. So one is designed to get you cash flow positive. Once you get cash flow positive through using the pillars of the program, you've got excess cash. Where do you go to multiply it and to make sure that it's serving you in the right places at the right time? The private reserve account is one aspect of that we're going to talk about. And then we're also going to talk about land banking, which is a tangible asset that you can use inside of your 401ks and your IRAs. Did you guys know that you can own real estate inside of your 401k? Maybe some of you do and some of you don't. But it's interesting to me that there's more people that don't know than do know. And if you're a part of this program, that's probably where you were introduced to the concept. So as we jump into this and we look at the 4 cornerstones of growing money, right? Or just creating assets altogether. There's 4 important pieces, right? One important piece of this whole puzzle is growth. If I'm going to have money, it better multiply, especially in an environment to where we've got inflation running rapid. If your money is no longer creating money, or you've got money sitting in places that it's in a non-performing account, or that isn't increasing or growing or creating other dollars, you're going backwards every single day. We call that going broke safely. It's kind of foolish, isn't it? But that's what most people do. They put money inside of a bank, to where they get very little reward for it. They get no returns virtually. And then they're wondering, well, why is my dollar feel like it's not stretching as far as it did, 10 years ago? Well, because it hasn't kept up with inflation. So we need to make sure that as we have money, that it's incorporating growth. Well, we also want that safety, don't we? You guys remember 2007 and 8? We're going to talk about it, because growing money and then having it and then losing it, right? That creates an issue, especially when you're in the later stages of life. When you're at the ages of 40, 50, and 60 years old, you're no longer in a position to where you can afford to go backwards. When you're young, you can, right? You can afford to go backwards because you have time to make up the difference. When you get into your 40s, if you take major losses, it makes it that much more difficult to get to that retirement style, right? To build the assets, to have that abundant lifestyle, if you're trying to earn what you lost the prior years. You can no longer afford to. Well, it also has to have tax advantages, because the government is in a whole lot of debt. That's kind of the long and short of it. When you think about the government and how they start to tackle debts, we already addressed that they're not good at reducing spending. I wish they were, right? Or they would cut programs that are useless, because we got a lot of those. But they're not going to eliminate programs. They're not going to reduce spending So what are they likely going to do? They're going to increase taxation. So you better know if you've got accounts that are going to be directly affected by the tax changes that are coming. If you're not, right, give us a call. Protection. When you pass, who does the money go to? Is it going to go to the government? I've seen too many instances to where people don't have money protected in the right way. They have a sizable amount that goes to their estate taxes when they leave and they pass on to the next generation. It's horrible. Make sure that your money is not only protected, but it's going to go to the generation that deserves it. You don't build your legacy for the government to overtake it. But unfortunately, people are doing that unknowingly every single day. So make sure that we've got that protective feature. So let's address the demographics of life and ultimately how we've got here. Because it's no secret that we're in the greatest retirement crisis in the history of the world. You just look at everyday living, right? You walk into a Walmart, you walk into, any type of grocery store. You don't typically see young folks at the cashiers, right? You don't see them at the end or, welcoming customers. You see people that are a little bit more old in life, and it's not because they're not working because they want to. Maybe some are. I'll give that, I'll give that grace. But most of them, they work because they have to. And it's because when we look at where people are going to retire, they're going to retire. Millions are retiring in poverty every single day. They're on a fixed income. How many people know people that are on a fixed income? Do you know if they enjoy it, or do they wish that they had access to more funds? Of course, they wish they had access to more money. They're not on a fixed income because they want to. Ultimately, life led that to them. They made choices to get there, but now it's their job to incorporate and to utilize this strategy, the MWR membership, to take that fixed income and to start to grow it. Right? Too frail to work, too poor to retire is the new normal. I hate saying that out loud because words are prophecy. But that's just the facts. That's what's happening. We've got people that are retiring way later in life than they anticipated. And ultimately, why did this happen? Well, you can look at these articles. The 401k, I want to be clear. I'm not against 401ks. I think that they're a great growth tool. But isn't there a saying for a reason that don't have all your money in one basket? It's like, people will have 401ks and they have 100% of their net worth inside of the 401k. Isn't that having your money all in the same basket? Because what's happened over the years is you can see through these segments that retirement dreams will disappear with 401ks. Your 401k is a total scam, and it's ultimately the retirement gamble, which was documented and presented by PBS.org. Now, why are they saying this? It's for three major reasons. Stock market risk. Great place to grow money, but what happens if you lose money right before you're trying to retire? Do you typically retire in the lifestyle that you were dreaming that you were building towards? Or do you tend to have to either reduce the lifestyle, right? Reduce the trips, reduce the abundance, don't see the kids as often as you want to and the grandkids. Or maybe you did the opposite, right? You stayed in the workforce longer than you expected because you lost money right before you were going to retire. That's the story of many folks. It's also because of hidden and excessive costs. Are you guys aware that 401ks, every 1% cost that you have inside of a 401k can cost you about a decade of retirement income? So if you have a 2% cost, that's 20 years of retirement income, and you can do the math, right? So you need to know, do I have a good 401k? Again, I'm not against them. I think they're fantastic growth tools. But you got to know if you have the good kind or the bad kind. It's the same when buying a car. Do I have a good car or a bad car? Do I have a good home or a good roof or a bad roof? A good fridge or a bad fridge, right? You want to be informed. Not all 401ks are created equally, right? So we want to know, do we have the good kind or the bad kind? And also tax risk. Do you guys believe the taxes will be the same, lower, or higher in the future? And kind of preface that at the beginning here. And, we all remember the crash of 2008. Average losses in 2008 was almost 40%, 38.49%. That's what we call market risk. Now, over the last 13 years, we've really had a growing market. We have. And so if you had a 401k 10 years ago, right, so you can tell that it's grown over time. But is it going to stay growing for the next 15 years? I don't know. That's the big question mark on everyone's mind. If we're seeing indicators that happened in 2007 that are showing up in 2024 and 2023, Does it make sense to be a little bit proactive? I want to make sure that everybody here has what we call an exit strategy, that we're proactive in the way that we're growing and investing our money. When you're proactive, don't you typically have access to like a laundry list of decisions? It's like, man, I was proactive. Maybe I can take this route or this route, right? A situation comes up, but you were proactive about it. And now you have a laundry list of way that you can kind of tackle the challenge. But when you're reactive, that laundry list of choices typically is one or two or three. And they're all hard choices, aren't they? It's not like it's easy. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to take a penalty just to deal with this situation. You take a penalty and you have to pay taxes on top of it as well. Again, just make sure that we've got money in different places to serve the needs ultimately. So what are the effects of losses on their retirement accounts? Because I think that most people don't understand how much a 40% loss affects your retirement accounts. So we're going to use $100,000. Let's say you got $100,000 into a retirement account, and let's just start with some of the, kind of a smaller number. If you take a 10% loss, that means that we're left with what? $90,000. What rate of return do you need to get back to where you were the year prior to $100,000? You need an 11.1% rate of return. Well, let's say you took a 20% loss on $100,000. Your new balance is $80,000. What rate of return do you need to get back to where you were the year prior? 25%. 25%. So that's a 5% increase. Did you guys know that most people within their retirement accounts are looking for anywhere from a 7 to an 8% annual rate of return over a 10, 20, and 30-year period? We're starting to approach those numbers. Well, what if you took a 40% loss? What do you need to gain to get back to where you were the year prior? 66.7%. That is a very large number. And then the argument is, well, Core, they may not do it in one single year, but they can do it over a number of years. But think if you're at the age of 65 and you're ready to retire, right? This was my father. Love him. He's my hero. But when you're ready to retire, isn't it kind of similar like spending time in prison or jail? Like, it's just like, man, this place is not what it used to be. And you're striking off the calendar days day by day by day by day. And every day you're counting, it's like, man, we're going to get out of here and we're going to get, and then we're going to get to retirement. Well, imagine instead of retiring at the age of 65, you had to delay it to the age of 68. What does that do to a person mentally? Well, it's a little defeating, I'll tell you that. And for most people, when they lost money in 2007 and 8, it wasn't 3 years that it took them to recover. It was 10. So you're at the age of 65. You wanted to retire, but it took you 10 years longer than you expected because you had to recover, right? You had to earn money back that you had prior. Now you're the age of 75. That's a long time. So what if you were proactive, right? What if you had an exit strategy to where you didn't have to participate in some of these large losses? Well, the private reserve account has a major benefit, my friends. You can get the access to the upsides of the market and never go backwards. It's guaranteed, by the way. That's a contractual guarantee within the program. Now, you're not going to get every single return, but hey, if I can get access to double-digit returns and never lose money, you can see how progressively those dollars will compound and grow much more effectively. It just makes sense. If I never go backwards, I'm always going forwards. I trust you're with me, my friends. So let's look at, another growth component, land banking. Talked about not having our eggs all in one basket. We've had 13 years of growth inside of the market. Does it make sense to secure and capture that growth and to secure it in something that's tangible? And look at that. You've now diversified your portfolio. We talked about not having your eggs all in the same basket. Well, now land banking is very unique in the way that it's kind of a set it and forget it type of growth tool. And you can use and buy that type of vehicle inside of your 401ks and IRAs. And, to keep it simple today, right? Because I got two different topics that we can go very deep in. We're going to go surface today. But to keep it simple, for those of you that have not heard of land banking, it's very, it's simply buying land before it's needed for development, then holding it for about 7 to 10 years and selling it for more than you bought it for. And, major companies, by the way, they've been doing this, not only buying and harboring and growing money for a very long time this way, but they've been creating empires. Have you guys ever seen the McDonald's movie to where they talk about how McDonald's is not a burger company, they're a real estate company? They say that the value in the business is the land. Walmart is known for this as well. They're very good at targeting a location, right, with their research and development team, buying it before all the craziness gets there. They build on it, and then they service the neighboring residents. It's fantastic. So not only can you do this, this is something that we brought access to through the membership, but you can do this with as little as $40,000 in cash or an existing investment. So maybe you've got an IRA that you know you can't touch till you're 59 and a half anyways. It's like, I'm 40. I can't touch that money. I want it to grow. I'm a little, uneasy about the 401k market. You could reallocate that money into land banking. Now, again, land banking is not immune to the laws of economics, but it tends to weather the storms a little bit better because it's tangible. It can't just grow legs and walk away from you. It's interesting. Like, I've seen people, I had a gentleman talk to me about how he feels like, he's got money in his 401k and he's doing well, and it just like disappears overnight like a magic show, right? What if you could secure that in something tangible? So let's talk about where this area is. Okay. So for land banking, guys, this is a 60-mile radius. And this is, of course, in the Los Angeles megapolis. This 60-mile radius, which a third of this is in what? Water, comprises over 50% of California's total population. And they're expecting 2 million more people in the next 10 years. So to put this in perspective, my friends, there's more people living in this area than the state of Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, Idaho, Utah, Montana, Wyoming, and New Mexico combined. Oh my goodness, right? So there's a lot of people, there's a lot of opportunity here. Now, ultimately, where are they going to live? Where is the opportunity coming? It's in the Palmdale area. And where are companies seeing the opportunity? You'll find Walmart here. They've got 5 super centers in this area. They're built to accommodate 250,000 neighboring residents. You've also got all these other well-recognized brands that have put roots in this area to simply service where the massive people are going. You've also got this gentleman that's invested a crazy amount of money, $2.5 billion, in a solar project, which, by the way, for those of you that don't know who this gentleman is, this is Warren Buffett. He needs no recognition, or, he's widely recognized as one of the most astute financial minds of our generation. He put $2.5 billion in this area that we're offering to members as well, right? I've got multiple parcels now in California as well. When do you want to buy land, by the way? Is it after the development comes or before? Well, before is where the opportunity is. I remember as a kid, so I grew up in a farming town, and there used to be cornfields everywhere, right? It was kind of like desert, and I'm a big I love motorcycles, so I had a dirt bike, jump on the back and just go and enjoy it. That was kind of the environment that I lived in, right? So it's a very small town, lots of space. And I went back to visit that place, roughly around 10 years ago. And the place that I used to ride my motorcycle in every single day turned into a massive development. And I think, I'm kind of kicking myself. It's like, gosh, if I would have had the foresight to buy the land before all this development came in, there's no doubt that there would have been a lot of money to be made. Well, that's where this opportunity is, because California has nowhere else for those 2 million residents to live. This is the only area that's continuing to be developed. Do you guys remember Silicon Valley? Oh my goodness, that exploded overnight. It was like Silicon Valley was just a blip on the map, and then boom, you had all these major corporations coming in. It thrived. So Warren Buffett, he's also put $230 million on an acquisition of a 10% stake in a company called BYD. That acronym is Build Your Dreams. It's an electric bus manufacturing system. They recently just acquired some more real estate close to this facility to start to build electric cars. So they have bus manufacturing systems there. They have electric cars as well, that they're all designed to service the massive inflow of these electric cars. Now, like it, love it, or hate it, it doesn't matter. It's happening. So you can either participate in the opportunity or you can let it slip you by. Where will you sit? We've also got the high-speed rail system that's being built in this area. Notice this blue line? That's going to go directly from Palmdale to the City of Lights, Las Vegas. This is what really caught my eye, because it's no secret to those that have traveled outside the country that our transit system is well behind, right? It's way behind. It's not even close. You go to like Germany and these Asian continents, and they already have these bullet trains established to help transit the current population. Well, now they're going to build this to where you can go from Palmdale to Vegas. So just dream with me for a minute. Think about if you're in this area. You have, it's Friday, right? You complete all your duties for the day. You have a great work week. And then it's like, hey, man, what are we going to do for the weekend? What if we go to Las Vegas? And you could jump on this railroad system and be there in a couple of hours to go and have an amazing time in Vegas, and then hop back on the tram system and sleep in your own bed. It's like, man, right? You've got Richard Branson that is also participating in this project. He's known as or widely recognized as Midas. Mr. Midas, because every project he touches turns to gold. He's got an incredible track record, right? He owns Virgin Galactic, Virgin Air, Virgin Mobile, right? So he's been very successful, and he's already secured another 185-mile route. You've got Northrop. They're already in this area as well. They're building these amazing aerospace. They've got available these amazing aerospace jobs. You've got NASA, the Air Force. They're already here with the opportunity. We've got the Olympics that are showing up in 2028 as well, right? The Olympics. We get to go and see and envision, or I guess really get to see the most amazing athletes in the world, the most disciplined individuals that the earth has to offer. Right? That's what I love about the Olympics, because that's really what it is. You think about a human that is so disciplined that all they do is immerse themselves in whatever craft and whatever specialty they have, and then they go and compete amongst all the other countries of the world. They're going to host this in Los Angeles. What happens when you've got eyeballs in an area that's already primed for growth? Well, money, right? Money, it gets infused in the area. You see people that never really thought of the Palmdale Lancaster area start to consider it because of all the wonder that's in this area. They've also got a $2 billion bill that recently passed to give this area an entire facelift. It's gorgeous. So guys, what are the results of land banking, and what's the annual appreciation rate over a 3.7 year hold period? Has been 24%. Now, of course, that's a number that I cannot promise you. But what if you could get 12%? What if it performed half of what it's done over the last 20 years? Is that a number that you'd be happy with? Right? What if you were able to take money that you've got in a 401k that you're worried about, that has no security inside of the paper markets, you were able to balance out your portfolio and create true diversity in real estate? Would you take advantage of it? Right? We've had a lot of members incorporate this in their strategy that have gotten well over a 24% rate of return in a single year. I want you guys to go to the testimonial page. It is incredible. We are seeing some fantastic numbers, some fantastic results. So guys, as we, kind of look at, kind of wrap this up and talk about all the different opportunities here, what does it look like for people that want to either qualify for land banking or incorporate the private reserve account or growth strategies in their portfolio? Well, maybe the person that's looking for something that's long-term and stable. You're tired of like all these ups and downs and the worries of, and the arguing economically of who's right and wrong in the political atmosphere. It's like, gosh, I just want something to where I can be proactive, to where when they make decisions that don't necessarily align with me, that I can be proactive in the way that I handle those opportunities. That's what we're talking about today. I am a full believer in preparation over prediction. Because preparation, you get, again, that laundry list of opportunities. When you predict and you're wrong, that's where you get into the reactive part of it. It's like, oh my gosh, I wanted it to go one way and it didn't. And then I've only got a few options that are not necessarily what I had planned for. So remember, 2024, the year of more, we want to be in preparation mode. We want to make sure that we're in that we're making sure that we're in the right opportunity. Maybe you need peace of mind about retirement. Have you thought about incorporating a strategy to where you can get the upsides of the market and never go backwards? Did you know it was possible? It's been possible for over 25 years. And the wealthy have been using this for a long time, by the way. It's not just something that that's just come to the market over the last 25 years. Typically, you had to have very large net worths to be able to participate in these programs, the private reserve account. But now with all the technology, they're able to, to allow everyday hardworking Americans to use a system that's proven itself time and time and time again. Why reinvent the wheel if you don't have to? Use something that that has a track record. Well, maybe you're looking through for a sustainable legacy plan, or you're holding $40,000 or more in a qualified account. This may be a right fit for you, but it's not going to be a right fit for everybody. I want to be clear about that, because we do have questions. People that'll call in and maybe they only have $40,000 accessible, and they're like, "Hey, I want to participate in land." Remember, this is a 7 to 10 year hold, right? So this is money that is illiquid for a number of years. So we need to make sure that we're prepared, which is why I love how this membership is set up. It's designed to get you from where you're at to where you need to be. And there's different places for every individual, right? So if you're the person that is just getting started, that needs a great place to park your money to get growth, right? To multiply and create other dollars, the private reserve account is a fantastic place to start. Or maybe you're at the position to where you've done really well at saving, but now you're worried about, well, what's going to happen in the next couple of years, and how do I secure my legacy along the way? Well, maybe both of these strategies would be, would make sense for you. Or maybe, you incorporate some tax strategies. What if you can incorporate a strategy that'll help you pay 0% taxes in your retirement income? Virtually divorce your income from the IRS. Would you take advantage of it? That is absolutely mathematically possible, by the way. For some of you guys, you're like, wait a minute. There's two things in life that I'm going to have to do, right? It's death and taxes, right? But yes, you're still going to have to pay taxes. But when you get into retirement, if you've already paid your taxes and have your money moved into tax-free assets, well, then you've eliminated Uncle Sam out of your back pocket, and you've secured your legacy for generations. That is the work that we're doing here. Now, as we kind of wrap up and we think about, we've already talked about how different accounts that you can incorporate. I'll go through these real quick. Various different retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, 529 plans, Roth IRAs, right? So there's a lot of options on how you can participate in these programs. So guys, if you ever said, if I had known then what I know now, life would be very different today. I kind of alluded to that earlier when I talked about, riding my motorcycle in the cornfields, and then boom, one day it turned into a massive development. Don't be the guy that was almost great, right? It's like I had access to information. I almost did the right things, right? Nobody wants to be the almost. It's like the worst thing ever. Remember, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but when Steve Jobs and Wozniak, when they created Microsoft, they had a third partner that exited early before their success, right? That's a missed opportunity. That's a missed opportunity. The promise is clear and the price is easy, my friends. Dream big. When he talked about how words are prophecy, dream big, speak it into existence, pair that with action, utilize the services, and make sure that if you have any questions, reach out to us. We do a very good job on telling people whether this is for them or they need to consider a different strategy. Share this with your friends and family. I tell people all the time, it's like, well, you want to make sure and share this with your friends and family, because there's nothing worse than being the successful one alone in your family, right? Because when you go out to like a resort, right, everybody culminates and you go to a resort, it's like everybody wants you to pay for the bill. But if everybody is abundantly living because you share the program with them, it's like everybody's going to have the same experiences, and you won't be the guy that's always having to fulfill the bill. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it back to you, Mr. Dale Brinks. I appreciate the time today. And guys, we love you deeply here. I mean, there's nothing more fulfilling than serving and being a part of this mission, because it truly is. And it's a mission that's turned into a ministry. If you're God, if you believe in God, or you're a God-fearing individual, I truly believe that there's no accidents. And I love that that's centered in what we do, that we're truly here to help the people. So we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. We love you deeply. Until next time.
Wow, thank you so much. We want to thank you for your time. Listen, we will never get this information from any institution, but you will get it from my NWR Financial University. So listen, be sure to be on the platform next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you get to hear this information again to change the financial trajectory of your family. Once again, take care, everyone.